Hi, welcome to Super Perceptor. So, have you seen this Mario timeline that's making the rounds? I really don't like it. As soon as I saw it, I had a knee-jerk reaction to it, and I felt kind of bad afterwards. Then I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. It's a distraction from more important things, and it's going to lead people to spend more time and energy on similar pursuits. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to clear the air and tell you why it's bullshit. First of all, the timeline actually is bullshit. There's little things that just make me scratch my head. Like, why does Donkey Kong have to be Mario's pet? That's just a solution that you pulled out of thin air. It has no substantiation in the video games. Another thing, he says that Mario made all this money in New Super Mario Bros. 2 and he spent it throwing parties and buying go-karts, but he also says that Mario Kart DS comes before New Super Mario Bros. 2, so where'd he get all the money to build racetracks? I mean, Princess Peach, I guess, but that means that it just throws it kind of out of whack in the theory. Also, I really just hate this bit where he throws up the Mario wiki page for Brooklyn. Like, thanks for making me read and hear a voiceover at the same time. There is some stuff in this that I think is cute, like when he talks about the Koopas and the crabs coming out of the pipes in Mario Bros. Maybe it is supposed to take place in Brooklyn. There's nothing really against that, and it's a neat idea. But there's also the thing about the poltergust always going up a version number in each new game. It could denote a change in time, and it's very reasonable that it denotes a change in time. But there's also the much simpler explanation, Occam's razor, that it only goes up a version number because it's a different one. It doesn't necessarily have to denote a change in time. Okay, I'm done talking about the nitty-gritty now. So, all of these arguments assume that there is a timeline, which is begging the question. For the scholars out there, that means that this video's argument is that there is a timeline, therefore, here's the timeline. But nobody ever said there was a timeline. Now we know that there's a Zelda timeline, so I could have used that evidence to make a similar argument, but that's not so useful unless I'm getting at really hidden stuff, because the Hyrule Historia already puts the timeline down in black and white. Nobody who came up with timelines before this was proven right. The timeline was just confirmed. Nobody was ever grasping at straws, though, when they came out with those theories. They were looking at something that was actually graspable, because it had been said by the creators that there was a timeline. Nobody ever said this about Mario. In fact, the exact opposite has been said. First, let's look at a point that Miyamoto made in Iwata Asks for Mario Galaxy. He said that function comes before form in Mario. That says it all, really. These games are made by prototyping a good idea over and over. Miyamoto's consultation, when he goes into the studio and looks at the game, probably boils down to this. Whatever you put in, it's got to have a good reason. So, it's probably tough to pitch him something like an entirely new princess, unless you're Yoshiaki Koizumi, Mario Galaxy's director, and Rosalina is your waifu. I'm not trying to dig on Rosalina, but Mary Sues are usually relegated to fanfiction. Okay, so that's not the brunt of the argument. Here's another pretty decisive quote from an interview that Miyamoto did with Telegraph after the Pikmin short films came out. He said, "I never thought of games as a means of storytelling. He could have directed the films himself, but he didn't. He wasn't interested. He didn't see the point." Like, are you for real, Miyamoto? If you don't look at the landscape of games today and see how ignorant that is, you need to go read some scholarship a bit before you can leave a comment. So keeping in mind that this is all pretty recent, here's something else that he said that's a little bit more redeeming. He said, these younger game creators, they want to be recognized. They want to tell stories that will touch people's hearts. While I understand that desire, the trend worries me. It should be the experience that is touching. What I strive for is to make the person playing the game the director. All I do is help give them that feel, by playing. They're creating something that only they could create. I love the sentiment, but you know what it doesn't do? Give any credence whatsoever to the Mario timeline. If people go searching for a Mario timeline, it's a waste. It's a childish endeavor. What does it add to the Mario universe? I guess it adds whatever fanfiction does. I'm not going to discount fanfiction, because it's a perfectly worthy endeavor, but it's certainly not academic research. But wait, this isn't taking itself seriously. But it actually kind of is. Why else would they post a plain graphic for someone without time to watch the video to look at? What does a graphic tell us? Nothing. It's for a child to look at and memorize like a timeline in a textbook. Is this the facts, or the lack thereof? It's the ultimate question begging because it doesn't even have any info. The only use it has is for someone to print it out and give their own telling of the timeline. You could cut bits out and rearrange it into whatever you want. Sure, I'm taking a really hardline stance here, but I'm also just bothered that nobody agrees with me at all. This keeps getting posted on high-profile websites, even Vox.com. The writer there says, it's probably impossible. Polygon and Kotaku just kind of said, oh, isn't this timeline neat? Stephen Totilo, Kotaku's head honcho, actually wrote a feature a while ago that talked about two different timelines. In nothing that I've read has anybody had the balls to interpret this timeline and say, oh, well, there's probably not any merit to it. I don't know if anybody ever really even thought about it. I think maybe they just passed it on because it was something cool. You know, it might as well have been something that his girlfriend stitched. Look at this Mario plushie. Like, I can do that too. but I mean, does that have any merit? Why can't Ben Kuchera pump out a column about this instead of writing about something else that's even more asinine? But it's time to put my money where my mouth is. Here's something that I think is actually interesting. So let's totally forget the timeline, but let's think about something else. Super Mario Galaxy. If the galaxy is truly reborn at the end of the game, I think that's a much more provocative and heuristically useful idea than the Mario timeline. When the galaxy is reborn, this symbolizes the recreation of Mario universe every time a new title comes out. Mario is like a piece of clay that Miyamoto and his collaborators keep crushing back into a ball and recreating with their new perspectives. Boom, there's New Super Mario Bros. Boom, there's Paper Mario. Boom, there's a billion fan remixes of New Super Mario Bros. That you can find online now. By the way, did I mention that fan fiction's perfectly okay? There's nothing wrong with games like that reinterpret Mario. I just don't want them to masquerade as part of an official canon with official themes and official meanings. There's nothing there. Nothing. The Mario timeline isn't a theory like mine because there's absolutely nothing to back it up. It's a waste, period. It's just based on conjecture. It might have found a thing or two, but as a whole, you shouldn't waste your life watching it. Now, if you want to be a historian, you could pick up Zelda, or you could pick up some ancient Latin text and go to work. Mario is not a place to apply your talents as a historian. There's not a story to tell with all these games. If there is a story to tell, it's just your story. It's fan fiction. That's it for Super Perceptor. Please, if you enjoyed what I had to say, engage me with a comment. I would love to talk more about this. Also, share this video with people that you think will actually care about this kind of thing. Or share it with the kind of people who sent you the Mario timeline and said, "Isn't this great?"